All right, guys, we're back on Southeastern 16. Max Barr joins, as
Come on.
always. It's a Wednesday in September. You know what that means. It's time to talk about SEC basketball.
Yep.
And so, you guys hop on in, as you always do here on a fine Wednesday morning. Hope you guys have had a chance to check out all the interviews we've done over the past week on the channel. We've talked to Ole Miss head coach Chris Beard, Mississippi State head coach Chris Jans, Tennessee associate head coach Justin Gainey. We got another one on the way on Friday that we're going to record. I don't know if we'll put it up on Friday, maybe next week, but we got another interview in the works and actually a couple more as well. So hope you guys, again, enjoy those. But we're getting ready to talk about, Max, our front court rankings here because, as we know, I'd love to see FanDuel have the odds on what are the odds that these front court rankings are going to be exactly what everyone thinks they should be. I'm going to set the total. The no is going to get a interesting number on that one. But again, good to see the regulars in here. Shane's here. Summit Cole is here. Sam's here. Chris is here. Big Gator EJ's here. Big Baller Brett's here. Asking for an interview with Houston Millette. Ask and you shall receive, Big Baller Brett.
I was just going to say, you better.
I'm not even joking. don't kid yourself, Big Baller Brett. You may just get what you asked for. So, anyways. All right. Max, how's it going?
It's going great. It's going great. It's just, I love sports season. Fall seasons when I feel at home. It's just, this is my time of year. Right before holiday season. Come on, the leaves start changing. On a walk the other day, Blake, leaves on the ground, Blake. It's the best time of the year. I don't know about you guys. I know a lot of people say summer is their favorite time of year. For me, I'm just waiting for fall the whole summer. I'm just waiting for fall. No. Finally here, this is my favorite time of the year. And we just get to talk about more and more hoops. I hope you guys watched those coach interviews we did. You get some good nuggets that you don't get from the media in them. Who's kind of impressing out of practice and whatnot. So, hey, yeah, check out Jans, check out Beard and Gainey, and we got some more on the way. But let's talk some hoops, Blake.
Yeah, good insight in those coach interviews. And, really good stuff, I think, if you want to learn more about those particular teams. All right, so we decided that we were going to do the next 2 weeks. We're going to rank our front courts and our back courts. All right. And by the way, if you have some questions, we'll get to them. I know Kyle's asking a question about Missouri, some other questions as well. Remember, the best way to support the channel, guys, don't forget, that is leaving super chats because it's almost super chat season, as you know. And so leave your super chats. Make sure we get to your comment. Doing it that way, we will not miss it. And Chris Lee, as Summit Cole says, he's covering volleyball for us right now. So, but yeah, we appreciate the support of the channel. We'll talk about others who support the channel here in just a minute. But front court rankings this week, back court next week. And so what we're going to do is we're going to do our top 5, all right? Because we were like, should we do top 10? Should we rank them all? I'm like, let's be honest. People probably only care about the top tier group that we have ranked. And so we're going to do just top 5, but we are going to give you honorable mention as well. And I'm also going to give you a reference point of a comparison with the Blue Ribbon College Basketball Yearbook, because they do their top front courts and top back courts every year as well in their preview book. By the way, already available if you guys are going to go find that, blueribbonyearbook.com. But they do their top 3. We're going to do our top 5, and we'll give you kind of a comparison later. All right, Max, we said we're going to start with honorable mention. So let's jump into some of the teams you have on your honorable mention list.
I've got a few. I will say I did do a full 16-team ranking just so I could get the best. Oh, and we do have a question here from Chris.
Why don't you answer that too? Because it's like Chris is asking, what are you ranking them based on? All right. I think this is one of those that's, it's like, are you ranking it on depth? Are you ranking it on, you got a star, and then you got like, it's, everybody's going to have a different criteria. There's no science to this, right? There's not an exact formula I think you can rank front courts on. Everybody's going to have different opinions. That's just the way I look at it. So
I can't give you a statistical, analytical answer like I usually will. This was really just, I think I like them better than the other front. It was just what I like better.
Or you could do Kyle's here. If you're gonna rank them by height, Missouri is number one, right? Because like their entire roster is 7 foot or taller, I think, in the front court. But no, in all seriousness, I think it's a feel thing. Sure, there are stats based in projections, like it's all that kind of stuff. We're all gonna have different criteria. Let's be honest. So
I have 3 honorable mention, which is kind of cheating because we're gonna end up talking about half the league when we're doing a top 5, which we always do. You guys, what else would you expect? What else would you expect? But my first is Missouri. Crazy that we just talked about them a little bit. I have them at 7 or 8 in my rankings. I could not break them with another team. I'll just go ahead and mention LSU. I like both of those front courts a lot. I had Missouri slightly better because I think if you want to talk about Mark Mitchell in the front court, he's one of the best players in the league next year. Not sure exactly how when you want to talk about depth, that's what they got. That was a big plus for Missouri. I'm not sure how the minutes are going to be distributed between Porter and Burns and Phillips and Pierce. I mean, the freshman Randall that they like. They've got the upperclassman Northweather who got minutes at Oklahoma last year. So not sure, but Missouri with Mark Mitchell, I had to talk about them. And then LSU, I've talked about their front court a lot with the fearsome foursome there with Sutton, the transfer that's just not been talked about enough, in my opinion, Robert Miller, Jalen Reed, and Mike Nwoko. So I wanted to give LSU and Missouri some love first, Blake.
I like it. William already saying, come on, LSU. Like, come on, William. We're already having fun here. By the way, Hurt Life Rick's here. He likes hearing LSU in the conversation.
There we go, Hurt Life.
But, yeah, I think Missouri is an interesting one. We talked about the Trent Burns thing, as Summit Cola says here.
Yep.
Yeah, again, just the size and everything he brings to the table. So I also had Missouri on my honorable mention list as well. And as you're going to see in a minute, it wouldn't be a ranking unless I cheated on one of mine and actually have a tie in my top 5. So I'm actually going to have a top 6. It's what I do here. But another one, I have Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss is one that I think is very intriguing, just from an overall depth standpoint, and I think they've got just a star in Malik Dia, and I think Ole Miss feels a little bit underrated here for me, honestly. It's my ranking, so why didn't I rank them higher? But I think, if Dia, and I think that was what it was fun to hear Chris Beard's thoughts on Malik Dia's development, and I think that's one that I'd probably have him no worse than 6th, to be honest with you, or I guess if I have a tie at 6th, 7th. But I think Ole Miss is probably the team that if I look back at the end of the season, I probably should have them a bit higher. But it's because I couldn't break some ties elsewhere. And another team I have, and I don't think that a lot of people would necessarily throw them into this category, but I think we forget sometimes how good.
Don't do it.
Who do you think it is?
You better not do Texas.
No, it's not Texas. Because here's the thing. I don't want everybody jumping in on the Texas train just yet, okay? I don't want everybody to all of a sudden say, oh, look how good the Traore is and look how good the front court is. No. Let's let them be the sleeper, okay? I don't want anybody to jump in just yet. One I think is a little underrated, Max, is Vanderbilt. Because I think Devin McLaughlin, the guy averaged 10 points and 8 rebounds last year. And if you look at kind of some of the additions they've made, right? Why do I keep forgetting the kid from Cornell's name? Why do I keep forgetting?
Oh, my gosh.
Okereke, right? Is that right?
Right? AK?
Yeah, AK.
Yeah.
AK. 14 points, 5 rebounds per game last year. I think Jalen Washington is an interesting addition.
Mm-hmm.
I think, again, McLaughlin's the one that I don't feel like we've talked about a lot this offseason.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, if you look back, like, I do think this guy is going to have a pretty good year. He's been pretty consistent if you look at his numbers the past couple of years. The first, before that, he's at Boston College, Vanderbilt last year. So I think just having him in that mix, I feel like he has a chance to take a step forward. And, like we said, by necessity sometimes too. But, yeah, I throw Vanderbilt in there. Give him some love. Come on.
Did you say Uncle Rico? No, Okereke.
Yes,
Wow,
Uncle Rico.
AK Uncle Rico.
That's his name. Uncle Rico. We're going to have to call him that all year now.
I know.
All right. There you go.
I had Vanderbilt, not in my honorable mention, but I had them in another team. I said, is this the same front court? Almost. Vanderbilt and Texas A&M. Okay. You've got Mbako and McLaughlin. Yeah. Very, very good fours. Very good fours who can do a little bit of everything. And then you have not elite bigs, but you do have a few good ones with Federico, AG from USC. We don't know what Vincent's going to look like in year 2. And we just talked about the Vanderbilt depth. So I was like, wow, A&M and Vandy kind of both fun offenses, built their front courts in a pretty similar layout this offseason. I thought that was interesting looking through it.
And Alex brings up a good point. Can you imagine if Vanderbilt had Jalen Carey and Devin McLaughlin heading into this? Like, I mean, really, that combination would probably be. Yeah. But I think Vanderbilt's one that a lot of people may not put like in this top tier group. But like, I'm not saying they're top 2 or 3, but I think they could be underrated. And another team, I'm gonna name off everybody. Chris Jans talked to me into Mississippi State. Like,
did he?
I'm telling you, I think the depth and the quality of the depth. You asked the question. I think that there is a lot of intrigue with Mississippi State. So I'll throw them on the list. I'll put Texas on the list. A&M. Anybody else I've forgotten? They're all on this list of honorable mentions. Okay, they're all honorable mentions, Max. That's what the honorable mention list is. So.
Well, my last one, and the reason why I said no, don't you dare do it, was because at 6th, I have Texas. I have Texas at 6th. When you look at that, what really did it for me was just the 5 spot. The 1-2 punch they're going to have with Lucina Traore and Matas Volkititis. That's 40 minutes of hell right there for the opposing team. That's just 2 brutes under the basket. And then the addition of Declan Duru and top 40 recruit John Clark, you just need one of those guys to be serviceable behind one of Xavier's best players from last year, Dalen Swain. So you combine that and then Nick Cody too, sophomore Nick Cody, who saw sparing minutes last year. So I love that 1-2 punch at the 5 with Traore and Volkititis. That's a beast of a 1-2 punch. And then you just need one of Cody, Duru, or Clark to hit in behind Swain. You've got a nasty little 4-man rotation there in the front court. So I had Texas at 6.
All right. To our top 5 we go. As always, there's no chance I'm starting. You get to start with this one.
Well, you made this easy on me. You helped me out here because you already mentioned who I have at 5. And I was a little surprised you didn't have him at 5, but you said it might be the team that comes back and bites you at Ole Miss. I have at 5, and you said why? It's because of the upside, the potential, the ceiling, whatever words you want to use to call the talent that is Malik Dia. You add in some of the depth behind them. I was interested, Blake, I rewatched the interview with Chris Beard, and if you notice when he was talking about the front court, he goes, and remember, I don't know exactly how he said his nickname. He didn't say Augusto Cassia. He said like Goose or Gus or something like that. But he was like, and we got Gus also, Cassia, the Butler transfer, and 6'8" upperclassman. That's another guy that I guess is going to be really in the mix now. The way that Beard made sure he mentioned him. Yeah, Corey Chest, Tyler Jordan, James Scott in there as well. That's a lot of dudes that can play.
Yeah, I'd probably have them no lower than 6-7 based on my tie at 5. So I think they're right there. And again, I don't think it would surprise any of us if the upside is, and it's everything he mentioned, right? With what you get with Malik Dia, developing in certain things like on the rebounding front and all that. And I think Corey Chest, our guy, like I think the more experience he has, he's only going to help there. And then, you mentioned just all the different pieces that they got there as well.
Imagine Jalen Carey and Malik Dia.
I mean, if you had Jalen Carey, Malik Dia, and Devin McLaughlin, if they were all on the same team, Vanderbilt is number 1 on our list. So, well, I don't know. It may still be hard to challenge number 1, but they're right there in the top 2 probably. So, I mean, look, we said it this summer, right? Like Dia has the chance to be first team All-SEC sleeper SEC Player of the Year candidate based on his numbers. There's no doubt about it. Like, you cannot question that. It's just, again, it's a different team, and I think you see what the usage is and all those kind of things. But no doubt, Dia's a beast and got some depth there in the front court as Ole Miss.
So I believe you have a number 5 you have to share?
Yeah, I do have multiple number 5s, actually. Okay, so I could not break the tie between these two, and I'm going to see if anyone else can sort of maybe break the tie here. And this is a perfect combination to try to break a tie on, because I'm sure there won't be any bias when it comes to trying to break this. But you and I had the discussion about Alabama and Auburn. Both. And I want you to maybe talk me into maybe how I break the tie. Chat, you can talk me into it. I mean, we have more Auburn than Alabama, although Big Baller Brett is going to make his opinion known. I think Auburn has the more experienced core. And I think Keyshawn Murphy is of the group, right? Like, I mean, you're talking about a guy who probably has the most experience.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I guess, Max, are we, like, Keyshawn Hall is 6'7", 6'8", right? So, like, he's kind of, does he classify for the front court if he's playing the 4? Like, if they are out there, got, I don't know. It's one of those tricky things where sometimes it's a bit hard to rank. But I think with the one half of the Vitches, he's an option. We've talked about, I think they've got options there, basically what it comes down to. I know it's not last year, and I know there's no Broom, but very intrigued by Auburn's group. But then for Alabama, we've talked about our guy Bowen. I mean, he's really good. We've mentioned kind of the size that Alabama has in the front court. They got a lot of it. And I think that's going to be a very intimidating thing if you're talking about what do they look like defensively. But we've also said you are looking at, I think, multiple guys in the Alabama front court that we're still waiting to see what is going to be that next step for them, right, in terms of the development of their game. So I had a really hard time separating these two, and I couldn't come to a definitive answer, to be honest with you. I know it's a cop-out, but I don't care. These are our rankings, and we'll do it as much as we want to do. Okay, folks?
So here's my take on it. I think you presented it beautifully, Blake. That was nice. Who do you trust the most out of the whole group? Alabama. If you're playing pickup basketball and you've got the whole Alabama front court and the whole Auburn front court, and you're picking for the whole season, who do you trust the most out of everybody?
I mean, hold on. Before I answer that, I want to just check one stat here because I think it's important. The guy that I think probably makes the biggest impact. What's tough? It's either Murphy or Bowen.
Right? My answer would be Murphy. Seen him at full SEC season before that.
Yeah.
Saw what he could do with Tolu there when he was playing the stretch 4 there, kind of rotating with Cam. So I trust Keyshawn Murphy to have the best SEC season, or to have the most consistent SEC season, I should say. However, if you look at the depth, where in behind Jovic, maybe it's Keyshawn Hall or Elijah Freeman playing a little bit big at the 4. You have Emeka Oparum behind Murphy. You've got Sebastian Williams-Adams, the freshman, and that's about it for Auburn. But when you go to Alabama, you've got Keaton Bristow and Noah Williamson on the second line, but then you also got London Jemison at 6'8". You've got Amari Allen at 6'8", who could also play a little bit bigger, who they've liked. So I like Alabama's depth a little bit more, but I think Murphy will be the most consistent performer out of all those. So just take your pick on which one you want to lean into more. The leadership of Murph or the potential of the young talent that Alabama has.
Yeah, I think it's hard to separate those two, but I think, again, the experience factor is probably in Auburn's favor, but, man, the upside is pretty undeniable with the front court and just the numbers that Alabama, I think, has with those guys. And I'm fascinated to see how that size plays into them defensively and obviously offensively. I know the guards are going to get a lot of the focus, but yeah, I think defensively, I'm very intrigued by Alabama in the front court when it comes to blocking shots, rebounding, defending at the rim, those kind of things. So there you go. All right, Max.
Moving on to number 4. Now these top 4 I think are all really good for me. I really like all 4 of these. For me at number 4, I have Arkansas. I have the 3-man trio for Arkansas: Trayvon Brazile, Malik Ewan, Nick Pringle. That's as good, as rock solid as a 3-man trio as you're going to find. The reason that they're not 3, 2, or 1 is because I think there's a little bit more depth and a little bit more wiggle room on some of these other, but it's not separated by much. They're all old. You got redshirt senior for Brazile, senior for Malik Ewan, graduate for Nick Pringle. If one of them gets injured, it gets a little thin. You have Kareem Artale, the international, maybe Samedo or Elmer. I don't know how to even say that last name, but they've got some deep depth, but not as much as some of the other top teams. So rock solid, but not as much wiggle room, Blake.
Have Arkansas at 4 as well.
Really?
I think maybe the difference is that the top 3, I feel like there's going to be a little bit more in terms of running through their front court. Things will run through their front court a little more for the top 3, whereas I think Arkansas, we've said it, I just feel like whether it's Wagner, Acuff, Thomas, Richmond, Knox, and that's not to knock Brazile or Ewan or Pringle. I just think it's like, I feel like there is so much that's going to run through what they do with those guards in the perimeter for Arkansas. But man, having that many guys, as you mentioned, 5 guys, it's 6'10" or taller. Like, I think that trio specifically, and like you said, we could be surprised by a couple of the newcomers, but Brazile, Ewan, and Pringle, I mean, that is a pretty tremendous core. And that, I think it also speaks to, as we're going to talk about, how talented probably I'm expecting us to have the top 3 teams, maybe not in the same order, but I just think it shows you like there is a lot of depth in the front court, and I would still put Arkansas up there. And look, it's like we're not studying every single team nationally, but I've got to think when you talk about production, Arkansas's front court production is going to be up there pretty high with that core. So,
and we also just saw a little bit last year also of Carter Knox playing small ball at the floor. He's got the physicality to do that.
See, and I think that's where, like, if you're doing your front court rankings, and we mentioned earlier, Chris asked about the criteria, that's where, like, there are going to be some people who are like, well, that guy would be qualifying for the front court if it was me making this. Or that guy would not be classified as a front court player. So you just have to have a little bit of wiggle room here and just to understand that there may be guys that were like, hey, we could see that guy playing the 4, and so we're going to throw him in, and maybe that bumps his team up a little bit. It's that kind of stuff. So that's why these are what they are. Please don't overreact, folks. All right, so we had the same 4. Before we get to the top 3, Max, you guys weigh in the chat. Again, let us know your thoughts so far on this list and how much I cheated by having 2 number 5s. But remember, super chats, all that good stuff. Let's tell you about the people who support our channel. GameTimeSidekicks.com, officially licensed stainless steel drinkware, every SEC school, over 350 more universities as well. Stainless steel sippy cups, tumblers, 40-ounce bottles, and shaker cups. Visit them, GameTimeSidekicks.com, SC16 for 20% off over there. ROKFORM, ROKFORM.com, the world's strongest magnetic phone case. Extreme protection, super strong magnets, rock lock, secure mounting. September, their busiest month of the year with a new iPhone coming out. Get all your accessories, cases, all that stuff over there at ROKFORM SEC25 for 25% off over at rockform.com. HOVI Dry Goods, our new favorite hat, your new favorite hat too. Look no further than the HOVI hats for high-quality headwear. Great fit, unique designs, they've got it all. Our Bad Beat team of the week this week was South Carolina. So you can use the code USC for 15% off at HOVI Dry Goods. All right, here we go. What's up, Rob? Rob, a nice member of the It Just Means More tier here at Southeastern 16. Got a lot of members in here today. You guys are showing out. And remember, members, you too can join the tier as we are going to throw this in the chat. Remember, you can hit the join button, $3.99 a month. You can't get anything for $3.99 a month these days. Join in, get some bonus content from us. We did an SEC mailbag this week. We answered some interesting questions on the futures, potentially Bruce Pearl, Rick Barnes, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, check it out. Join the It Just Means More tier, Southeastern 16. All right, top 3. Here we go, Max. I am kind of interested to see what this order is for us and if we have the same.
I don't know if we will. I feel like we're going to be different on 3 and 2, but we'll probably have the same 1. My 3, the Cats, Kentucky. I've got Kentucky here. I love, as you guys know, the defending, reigning SEC Bully Ball Player of the Year has transferred to the Cats, Mo Diabate. You've got Yelovich, one half of Blake's Viches. You've got the underrated freshman, somehow underrated, despite being highly recruited, Malachi Moreno. Reese Potter at 7-1. The returning Brandon Garrison. And I haven't even mentioned the top recruit or top transfer, Jayden Quaintance. And you know what I'm going to do, Blake? I'm going to throw in also there. Maybe you might see a little bit of 6'9" Braden Hawthorne. Maybe you might see a little small ball Cam Williams. A lot of different looks that they can throw out for the first few months of the season. Probably going to be mostly a Mo Diabate, Brandon Garrison tandem. But hopefully, come SEC play, we can get JQ into that mix.
All right. So, once again, you're not going to be shocked by this. My ranking has a caveat to it.
Oh.
All right. Well, come on. Come on. Come on. This is our rankings here. Come on. Okay. If Kentucky has a healthy Jayden Quaintance, I would put Kentucky at 2.
Same here.
Right this second, I would put them at 3. So, because he's not been cleared, right? And so I think that's where, with that one unknown for me, I think this is completely fine to put Kentucky at this spot, because you mentioned all the different possibilities if they decide to play some of the 6'8" guys, and we could consider them front court players in certain lineups, because of course we could. But Diabate, tremendous. Garrison, fully expecting more from him in terms of like he's going to take a step forward just because I think his role is growing here. And then the intrigue, you got one half of the Viches, Moreno, who I think is kind of a fascinating piece of the puzzle that I don't want to say that Kentucky fans aren't talking about a lot. They are, but I think most people are not talking about him a lot right now. But I think he is, again, like you look at the potential with that kid, man, he's going to be really good.
Yeah.
And I think it's just a matter of how does he fit into year one and just in terms of, the rotations they're going to have. But it's all JQ for me. Like, that's this whole discussion. If he's healthy, I think Kentucky is at 2, and I'd feel really strongly about that. But right now he's not. And so you have to remove that part of the equation if we're doing our rankings. And yes, it's like, well, these are rankings for this season. Well, it's the known versus the unknown, right? If I knew exactly when he was going to play, great. I'd have a better maybe projection. But right now I don't know what that looks like. And so, yeah, I have Kentucky at 3 also, which means we're probably going to have the top 3 the same, because I'm guessing we know who we both have at number 2. But that has to be part of the discussion when it comes to where you're ranking Kentucky. There's no question about it. So,
and one I saw it. I think I saw it on Discord, but it was a note. It was a note to this conversation that I hadn't really seen yet. And we have talked about how Kentucky's probably going to be a little bit more run and gun this year, a little bit more higher rim rate, trying to get to that, trying to create contact and seek out physicality a little bit more. They're going to be up and down. And that's going to be there's going to be a ramping up, a lengthy, I don't know how many games it'll be, but it's not like JQ's coming back to play for Virginia or for, a half court team. He's going to be coming back to play an SEC play for a team that's trying to fly. So, it might, when he does come back, it might take a little bit. I hadn't thought of that previously. I think I saw that this week, but yeah.
9-time champion. listen, we know what we're doing here. It's not a bad time to have a lot of Kentucky, Florida, and Arkansas basketball fans as we do here at Southeastern 16, because we know there has been some unhappiness with the football programs this season. It's still early, folks. Come on, it's the third week of September. You got time to turn it around. Although you look at some of these upcoming schedules, it could be tough. But yeah, we appreciate you guys hopping in nonetheless. All right, so let's just spoil it. I guarantee I know we both have it too, and that's going to be Tennessee.
Yeah. Yep. I thought I'd just do a second of anticipation there, but yeah. Come on.
All right, so Austin, let me just, we're just going to, Austin says there's no world in which Tennessee has better picks than Kentucky. So we're going to give you our argument. You give us your argument in terms of what you think about the comparison between the two.
We're not splitting it. We're not trying to say Tennessee's front court is worlds above Kentucky's, and we just said 2 seconds ago if JQ's fully healthy, we would have him. However, for me with Tennessee, my preseason defensive player of the year pick is probably going to be Felix Okpara. Mm-hmm. That's probably going to be my preseason defensive player of the year, best rim protector in the conference. And when you were talking to Coach Gainey, you made sure to mention Dwayne Brown, freshman. He said, make sure you keep your eyes on him as well. It's not just Okpara and Estrella there at the 5. We like our freshman, big 6'9" Dwayne Brown. So I have not been factoring him into my, when I'm thinking about this Tennessee rotation, but I guess, hey, we got to start factoring in Dwayne Brown. I love Cade Phillips, what he did last year, and then Jalen Carey as an upperclassman, and maybe even Nate Ament there as well. It's just that floor, right? The production floor with Jalen Carey, Okpara, Phillips, Estrella. You know what you're going to get at worst,
Okay. No, I think that's it. It's like the whole, hey, we're bringing Dwayne Brown into this discussion. Then you're talking, there are 4 guys who have significant SEC experience, right? In the top 4.
Yep.
And then you've got him added in. Like that's 5 guys right there that 4 again have, and we probably could have run the numbers, which it's not easy to do, but I would think Tennessee's one of the more experienced to returning front courts too. Just if you're talking just pure experience with those guys. So in terms of the valuable minutes they played in the SEC or power conferences. And so I think that helps when you're doing something like this. You're basing it on projections. You're going to have to factor in that experience. And like you said, I think Okpara will easily be one of the SEC Defensive Player of the Year candidates without question. And if they were to be able to rotate that many guys in the front court, and remember too, like Jalen Carey last year, I think you're going to see Jalen Carey become even more. And like we talked last year about, this guy is an absolute beast. And if that development process and that, cycle continues the way it's going, dude's going to be legit. And so, so I think that's probably the thought there on that. So, Josh, put some respect on Blockpara's name. I like that. We got to run with that. Blockpara. Yeah.
There's just it's one of those no drop off rotations, kind of like what Florida was running out there last year. It's just you just got 10 minutes of Jalen Carey and Okpara. Say hello to Cade Phillips and JP Estrella. Oh, okay, we got to run and gun a little bit more. We're going to bump up 6'9" top freshman Nate Ament to the 4, and we're going to start running and gunning. It's elite, man.
Well, and I'm going to bring this up from Austin because we did ask a second ago, and he says, look, it's an SEC channel. You should rank by SEC play. JQ 100% be back for that. I fully agree with you. I think that's probably the case. But we have to factor in games that are played before that. Like, these games matter, right? Like, and so if we're going to do that, that has to carry some weight, I think, in our rankings. And for me, that made it a little bit easier to separate. But hold on, what was it? Here's the question from Chris. At full strength between Kentucky and Tennessee, which front court do you have that everyone's healthy? And that's why I made the case a minute ago for Kentucky. I think the best player of the group, and this could, be debatable, I think JQ. I think JQ's the best front court player in the group. What are you laughing at now?
Josh has already started drinking.
Well, that's not a bad idea. So, when's that game play? What's the date on that? I forgot. It's something. So, Yeah, trust me, we have too, because we know what the chat's going to be like after that game. So we're already waking up and having nightmares about reaction for that game. But there you go. Anyways.
But
okay.
yeah,
Do you agree with that?
I agree. Yes.
That JQ's the best player. If everyone's healthy, JQ's the best of the bunch.
Yes.
Okay. So that would make it easier.
When is his birthday? We're gonna find out.
Looks like he's just absolutely chiseled out of stone. Reminds me of Max Barr at that age, to be honest with you.
His birthday is July 11th, 2007.
Wow. 2007. Man. Oh.
Jeez.
Dude is just, yeah. Well, there you have it. So, all right. Okay, so there's no, what else you got on this? Anything else before we get to number one?
No.
Okay. Number one's Florida. I get there will be some people who are, and look, by the end of the season, like I said, we're talking about some elite front courts here, like some of the best in the country, period.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of my thinking on that. I mean, we're talking some absolutely tremendous front courts, but I just don't know how you're putting anyone else at one when you have the combination of just the four of Sir Thomas Houck, Tommy H., Alex Condon, Ruben Chinyelu, and Micah Hamlogden. They just helped Florida win a national championship. They're all back. I mean, what else do I say here?
I think it's the best in the country.
Has to be.
It's an NBA build in a front court. NBA talent, 3 of them. It's ridiculous. But Blake, what I was doing when I was doing these rankings and I get to Florida, what I thought about was a Ben McCollum, the new Iowa coach of Drake last year. He had a quote, and it was like, I think he was asked if there's one thing about this team that you could fix, or you wish, if you had a wish list, what would it be? And he's like, a true 5-man. They don't grow on trees nowadays. They pretty much do in the SEC. They pretty much do in the SEC. Even some teams that we didn't list off today. Georgia, as big old Sampson Surreal standing at center. Mississippi State has big old Quincy Ballard, standing in there. Pretty much, you go through the list of SEC teams, pretty much every single 5 is a really good 5 when you're looking at it in a national sense. You got 3 of them, maybe 4 of them on one team in Florida. It's another level.
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot of debate here, and I think that's where, like you said, this could be I think it probably is the best front court in the country. Because who's the most accomplished front court in the country? It's this group right here. Like, They just won a national championship. So there's no one else that can rival this in terms of just the accomplishment of this, just that group of 4. And as Big Gator EJ mentioned, yeah, another intriguing guy there too. Now, he doesn't qualify for the Vitches, Max. But the Kitches,
he's a cousin, maybe?
I mean, we could maybe find a group there somewhere, but yeah. So Florida's got plenty of options. They're at the top for a reason. They're the defending national champions. They've got 4 standout returners in the front court, and I think that tells you all you need to know about that.
One element of the Florida front court that we're not talking about, no one's talking about, is Alex Condon. His freshman year, he makes 11 3-pointers. Last year, he makes 19 3-pointers, just over 32%. What happens if that goes from 11 to 19 to 35? Mm-hmm. What if Alex Condon is a 3-pointer a game stretch big now? We're ranking them number 1 to hold their same level as last year, not expecting them to all improve, which they all will. You have to factor that in. Even if they just hold the level they had last year, Micah Hamlogden sits out 3/4 of the year, they're still number 1 in my rankings. So, yeah, number 1.
All right, let's get to some of your questions here. And remember, super chats, guys, make sure, because we had some earlier, we just kind of lost them. We don't lose the super chats. We have a special little button back here where it automatically sends the super chats to us, to where we will not miss that comment. So that's the best way to get in and make sure that we see your comment there. Eddie weighs in with his rankings. Yeah, but leave your own rankings, all right?
Yeah.
Eddie's going to go Florida, Kentucky, Arkansas, Tennessee, and Auburn for Eddie. So pretty much all those 5 we all kind of had in there in some variation. So yeah, I just don't think there's a lot of good front courts in the SEC, but I think in terms of separating the just truly elite, I think it's pretty easy at the top with several of these. And I think I mentioned them. Like, I think that top 4 specifically for me is pretty stout with Florida, Tennessee, Kentucky, Arkansas. So I'll tell you, though, Blue Ribbon, if you want to know what they had.
Oh, yes.
There will be some disagreement here. They only do their top 3, remember. Top 3 front courts, Florida, number 1. Auburn, number 2.
Wow.
Tennessee, number 3. So only the top 3. So that means Kentucky, Arkansas, and so forth on the outside looking in for them. Top backcourts, which we'll talk about next week. I think you're going to be very intrigued by their top backcourts on that. So there you have it. All right. Let's get some other stuff here. As Chris, by the way, said earlier, need a little distraction from the Florida football. We appreciate being able to provide that. Gators go on the road, play Miami this week. And then it just gets tougher with the schedule. So Chris asked again at full stream. Maybe we already did that one. Sorry.
Yep.
Let's see. Shane. If you're not overreacting, do you really care? That's the best. That's the best point.
Yeah.
Period, Shane. It's overreaction season. We got to overreact to everything because we haven't seen any of these teams play yet. So every little piece of news, every little tiny nugget we get, we're going to absolutely overreact to everything. So, what was that? I saw some people the other day. It was the JQ thing, I think, where it was like he wasn't cleared yet, and I saw some comments like he's not going to play this season. I'm like, folks, it's okay. It's September. Like he'll be okay. Like he's going to play. He looks great. If you watch the video, he looks great. So he's going to play. No need to overreact. Sam asked, "Are we getting a football live stream today?" Yeah, right here. Max Barr and I are about to go deep into week 4? So I'm going to just do
rapid fire. You want a fantasy football live stream?
Yeah, if you want that, Max and I got plenty to discuss.
We go all day.
Because I was texting Max last night about how I think I have the worst running back room in the history of fantasy football. So, all right. Kyle asked, do you think Missouri is a top 25 team this year? I don't see them in many national rankings. I mean, I don't know if they'll start there, but like I got a feeling that for a lot of people, they would be just on the outside looking in. You know, like I feel like I've seen some rankings, and maybe I'm just confusing the years, where they were like top 35, top 40. So like I think they're probably close. So
Bart Torvik has them preseason 28.
Maybe that's one of the ones I was remembering too. Yeah.
So right on the fringe. If you had a, Vegas has an odds, even odds, whatever. Is Missouri finishing this year as a top 25 team? Yes or no are the only two options. I think I would if I had to take a stab, I'd probably say yes, just given the opportunities they're going to have in the SEC, rack up some big time wins. It's going to be fringe though. Fringe.
See, that's the thing. If you finish as like a top 8 or 9 team in the SEC, there's a good chance you're in the top 25 based on where the league's at right now. So if you're like projecting them to be in the top 8 or 9, then I think you could say, sure, I could see them finishing in the top 20, even if you're 24, 25. And that's where, like we mentioned, this year's going to be interesting for the SEC because you do have the expectations set, right? We just got 14 in. Nobody thinks they're falling off. And you got 2 other programs who think that they're on the rise, right? You got LSU and South Carolina who are like, hey, we're about to we're going to crash the party this year.
Yep.
And so that's where I think it gets tough because inevitably, we said it, and you guys can mark this down. My biggest storyline of the entire season is simply what happens from November, the whatever opening that night is, to December, whatever, the last non-conference game, right? That's the story of the season for the SEC this year.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily what happens in conference play. It's what do you do from early November to late December. That is going to determine so much for so many teams when it comes to the NCAA tournament. And is it going to probably determine a lot for Florida necessarily? No. Kentucky? No. Tennessee? No. And so forth, right? But the teams that are going to finish in the SEC 10 through 14, that is where it will be decided. So much of it. Because we said last year, 185 and 23, I think that's the number. That was just such an absurd amount of success to have in non-conference play that you're just probably not going to replicate it this year. So that's the big thing.
You can even just look at Oklahoma's non-conference. They had the 2-point win against Providence, 5-point win against Arizona, 5 against Louisville, 1 against Michigan.
Right. Yeah. You
How are
go
we
2
gonna-
and 2, 2 and 2 in that, you're not in the tournament.
Exactly.
Like, you know, it's two or three plays and you're not an NCAA tournament team.
Yep.
And you may, who knows? I mean, that's like, do they make a coaching change? Like all that, you don't know, like the domino effect that could have had. But it all worked in the SEC's favor last year.
Yeah.
And I just think inevitably you're going to lose some games this year. The league will probably lose more than 23 games in non-conference play. And look, Chris brings up a good point. This is, I think Max and I were talking about this the other day. The ACC is going to be better. Look at what they've added to the mix in terms of their coaching ranks. A lot of good players have come in there. We mentioned the transfers, you know, whether it's NC State and so forth. Big Ten, you're going to have a lot of good teams there. Big East, you've got some national title contenders there, as usual. Big 12's good. So it's like those kind of games that we're going to see. And it's just, yeah, I think that's kind of the thought. So, and we forgot to even mention, we're going to preview one of those in a second. So,
yes, we are.
Tennessee and Houston is our chosen game of the week non-conference wise. So we're going to get to that after a couple of your questions here. So, yeah.
Our first Tennessee preview this offseason.
Yeah.
Excited.
How would you do a quick ranking here?
I would probably go SEC and Big Ten as 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think there's a slight drop off with the Big East. I think it's very top heavy. I think Creighton's really underrated. They have a huge lineup, guys. Huge lineup. Creighton could be rolling out a Duke-ish type of lineup where only the point guard is under, 6'6", 6'8". I really like Creighton and then UConn, obviously. But other than those two, I'm actually not a huge St. John's believer. I think St. John's is more of just a conglomerate of talent rather than a really well-built squad. So I think Big East, you're going to have Creighton and UConn way up there, challenging for, top rankings. Big 12's got some decent teams, and I think the ACC takes a massive step up. But I think it's pretty clear that SEC and Big Ten will be 1-2.
Yeah. So last year, if you look at Ken Palm, it was SEC, Big 10, Big 12, bit of a drop off to the Big East, and then a big drop off to the ACC. I think the difference probably this year is that the gap closes a bit in terms of between the SEC and the Big 10, maybe. I think the gap between the ACC and the Big East and the Big 12 closes a bit because I think the ACC will be significantly better. So yeah, I think that's going to be the difference. Whereas last year, that was such a defining. SEC was worlds better than the ACC, 14-2 in the challenge. We saw that this year. That gap's closing, and I think the ACC closes the gap on some of the others. And you mentioned the Big East, very top heavy. It feels with those teams at the top. And then I think you've got pretty good depth with the Big 10 and Big 12. So, yeah.
Yeah, the Big Ten's got multiple title contenders. Multiple.
Yeah. All right, Max, get us loaded up for Tennessee and Houston. Guys, keep leaving your questions, super chats. I'm going to go let Barry the Wonder Dog out real quick. I'm coming right back. I'm sure Sam's going to call me very unprofessional whenever I walk away for 15 seconds.
Got to do what you got to do. Bury the dog. It's got to go out. Let's get Tennessee and Houston loaded up here. Man, I can't wait to do this one. There we go. Yeah, Tennessee hosting the Cougs. This is a players era matchup. This is one of the preseason tournaments, late November. Chris, I'll get to the over-under. Don't worry. I've got that. You already know I've got the projections. So just to give you a little when and where, we got Tennessee-Houston Players Era Tournament. This is going to be a Tuesday game on November 25th. This is at the MGM Grand in Vegas. To get your Bart Torvik projections. Now, obviously, late November, so there's going to be a few games before this that might influence what these projections will be, but preseason projections: Houston 64, Tennessee 61. That's an implied odds of Houston -2.5, Houston -3, over under 125. Reason I bring that up, Blake, if you remember, this is going to actually be the second Tennessee-Houston matchup of 2025, as they just matched up in the Elite Eight. Those odds closed the exact same line. Those odds closed Houston -2.5, over under 126. We all know how that one ended, with Houston running away with that. Tennessee never had a lead. However, Blake, this is where we match up. Players Era Tournament, Vegas. Come on.
Come on. What more could you ask for here between these two coaches, these two stellar teams here? Because as we said, I mean, these are, if I'm going to pull up the FanDuel odds right now in terms of our national championship to see what kind of movement we've had on this. By the way, did you know there has been a little bit of movement in terms of UConn has jumped up ahead of Florida and Kentucky in the national championship odds. But Houston, still second best odds to win the national championship, plus 1,000 over at FanDuel. Tennessee plus 4,000 over there right now. And like you said, I think it's one where Tennessee fans would like to forget. The one that happened earlier this year, the 69-50 game, just could not, as most teams couldn't against Houston, for them having all that success, could not get anything going in terms of the offensive side of the game. And, I think, too, the date on this is interesting, right? And remind me again, I know you mentioned it, but what's the date? It's November
25th. It's 25th. The second day of the Players Era Tournament. So both teams get one Players Era game, and then this is the second one.
Okay. So I think, that's where, to me, like, we'll have a pretty clear, I think, example of what Tennessee's going to look like offensively. Because I think that's one of our questions with them, right? Is we know Jacoby Gillespie's going to have the ball in his hands a lot. We know Nate Ament can be a stud. Like, as I was telling Justin Gainey, it's like, hey, we know the names that he's being compared to, right? The Kevin Durant comparisons, all this other stuff. Like, we get it. And so there are high expectations for this guy. But I think it's the Amari Abram edition, right? I think it's just kind of seeing elsewhere in the backcourt, like, what does this look like from an offensive standpoint? Because, I mean, let's not kid ourselves, right? I mean, Sam will tell you in the comments. Tennessee fans will tell you in the comments. Like, if there's anything that's been frustrating, it's just simply been, how do we figure out some of these offensive lapses that tend to happen? And you're going against a team that, let me just make sure I got the numbers right on this, but best defensive team in the country last year. They've been in the top 21 in defensive efficiency the past eight straight seasons. They've been in the top 13 in 7 of those. They've been in the top 9 the past 5. So they're going to defend. They're going to get after you. And Tennessee has seen that firsthand earlier this year. So I just think that's what it's going to come down to. I'm very intrigued to see what Tennessee looks like offensively by November the 25th, because it's a new look, Max. And I think that's where, too, like, what does the offensive production look like at the front court?
Yeah, and we'll have a decent idea for both, a little bit of a better idea for Houston. They both have decent exhibitions. Tennessee is playing Duke for their exhibition, so that'll be a great one. Houston, Mississippi State. So we'll get a little SEC action for Houston's exhibition as well. Matchups before this game, Tennessee plays all home games. I'll just list them off real quick. Mercer, Northern Kentucky, North Florida, Rice, and Tennessee State. And then their first Players Era tournament game, their first high major game of the year, will be that Monday right before this game on a Tuesday against Rutgers. So really not a huge test before this besides the Duke exhibition for Tennessee. Houston, on the other hand, they're going to play that Auburn-Birmingham game the week before Sunday, November 16th. So we'll get a big-time Houston game against Auburn where we can really see their Players Era game the day before Syracuse. So both teams should be favored by a few baskets in their first Players Era games there, Blake.
Yeah, so if you wanted just a quick note, like, okay, what could Tennessee do against Houston that could play a factor in this game? Rutgers, Blue Ribbon College Basketball Yearbook has Rutgers picked 17th in the Big Ten out of 18 teams. So that kind of, and it's one projection, but that's just worth noting if you're talking about the huge difference there could be between game 1 and game 2. So, yeah, but I think that's it. And I think this is one, too, where it's like, hey, give me the matchup of Nate Ament, the superstar freshman, against a coach like Kelvin Sampson. And how does Kelvin Sampson, game plan for, again, by this point, who knows? Like, we'll know kind of pretty good idea of, is Nate Ament the next Dalton Connect or Chaz Lanier? Like, is he in his own, you know what I mean? So, like, I think that's going to be one of those things, too. Is that one of our biggest storylines we have when we're talking about this game 2 months from now? Or does it just come back to the Houston side? And just like, hey, look at the knowns, right? Uzan's back, Sharp's there, Cougars there. Like, these guys between them have won how many games? Yeah. And they're going to defend. They're going to get after you. And sure, I mean, they've got some newcomers to add to the mix, but it's not like they're just adding in anybody, right? I mean, they're adding in very, very good players. So, yeah, I mean, this is one where, like I said, there's a reason Houston is projected to be one of the top 3 national title favorites right now. It's banking on Kelvin Sampson to do what he always does. And remember, too, I want to say this. I mentioned the defensive numbers with Houston. Here's what we can't forget. Sometimes we do this with defensive teams. And if there's anybody who knows that any better, it's Tennessee. Although, maybe that consistency's varied a little bit. But Houston, I'm going to read off their offensive numbers, Max, in the last however many years for Houston, efficiency numbers. 12th, 19th, 11th, 10th, 7th, 22nd, 19th. So whatever that is, the past 7 seasons, 8 seasons. They've absolutely been an elite offensive team. Yeah. And so I think sometimes it's just sort of misconstrued because they play slower games where, yes, you could have lower scoring, but this isn't just a team that's going to grind you defensively. They're able to turn that into offense, but they're also able to run some good stuff. And, oh, by the way, it helps the fact that they are relentless when it comes to the offensive glass, and that's another, I think, portion. And I'm looking back here quickly at that game against Tennessee in the tournament. And, I mean, Houston had 14 offensive rebounds in that game. So, again, just kind of another part of the story there.
Yeah, so just real quick, the depth that you don't see on the graphic here for
Jeez, Matt, we do this every single week. We do a non-conference preview every week. All right? Did he subscribe again? I thought he'd already unsubscribed. Anyways, continue.
For Houston, despite losing LJ Cryer and Roberts, which seems like a massive blow, they still return 43% of their minutes and 3 starters. So it's just like, wow, Houston, once again, going to be right up there. Kingston Flemings, point guard transfer, highly recruited. You're going to have Mercy Miller also in the backcourt, and they're high on redshirt freshman Chase McCarty, 6'6", out on the wing, versatile on the perimeter. And then they brought in grad transfer Khalifa Sacco to back up JoJo Tugler, which brings me to my point, Blake. The depth of the front court for Tennessee. I think the story of this game, I think the story of almost every Houston game this year is going to be, when does JoJo Tugler pick up his 3rd foul? If you create a list of every game that Houston plays next year and you track when JoJo Tugler picks up his 3rd foul, I guarantee you there's going to be a correlation between their wins and losses with the games that he picks up that 3rd foul too early. And the reason I bring that up is because the strength of Tennessee this year, I think, is going to be their front court depth. throwing at you in waves. Estrella, Carey, Brown, Cade Phillips, Akpara, throwing a Met up there. If they're able to wear down a thinner Houston front court, especially a guy like JoJo Tugler, who I think is going to be the best defensive player in the country next year, that could be the difference in a game like this, Blake. If we're just looking way ahead, projecting matchups, man, what a front court matchup we have here, and it's fitting for today's episode.
I was going to say, it's kind of, we didn't even realize we did this, but it actually is perfect because as much as I said, the offensive storylines for Tennessee, I think what could win them the game is their front court. Because I think the depth there, we mentioned just having that many guys, and, again, what's Wayne Brown's role look like? For this team. And so I think it's all those things you factor in. And, Alex brings up a point here. Hey, he says, look, I think Tennessee has a better team, but Kelvin Sampson has been eating Barnes up the past few matchups. He says Sampson 12-8 versus Barnes. And so, Kelvin Sampson's probably got a winning record against a lot of top coaches. And I think it's just because, again, we said it. The win total for Houston, 35, 32, 33, 32. The past 4 seasons keep going 28, 23, 33, 27. Like, my goodness. It's just like, this is what they do. And, we mentioned it's like, I think the stat we talked about with Barnes of however many straight years it's been, 4 or 5 straight years, Tennessee has been in the top 5 nationally, 5 straight seasons in defensive efficiency. Well, it's just like you're looking on the other side at a team that's been right there with you. And, at times has either been right behind you or right in front of you. And so, this is the type of game you expect between these two. We know, the tournament game played out how it did, but I think this is where if our Tennessee front court ranking proves true, and they are one of the top 2 or 3 front courts in the SEC, which should put them as one of the top 10 front courts in the country, probably. This is the kind of game where you mentioned Tugler gets in foul trouble, something like that. Tennessee takes advantage, and they're going to have to defend. They're going to have to rebound. And two, look at we mentioned like Tennessee went, I think, 5 of 29 from 3 in the game against Houston in the tournament. So you're going to have some pressure on your front court guys here too to score, and you're going to need some easy baskets off of offensive rebounds. I think Tennessee had 12 in that game in the NCAA tournament. You're going to need some easy baskets against Houston, and that's where your big guys can get you that. And luckily, I think that entire core that they have in the front court can do that. I think they can all chip in offensive rebounding-wise or just getting some easy plays at the rim, getting to the free throw line, those kind of things. It's crucial if you're going to find a way to score on Houston. So,
and Blake, we just spent how many odd minutes breaking down the game, and the one factor that could just blow all this up is it's halftime, and Emmanuel Sharp is 5 of 8 from 3.
Right.
And this game is over. The backcourt for Houston, we haven't, spent too much time on it, but obviously one of the best there is.
I'll say it's almost like we feel like it's a given where we
it's
just don't have to say a whole lot. But if you're watching this, you've probably watched college basketball, a bit of it, and you probably know we're pretty high on Houston. We talked about this team a lot. Max and I both picked them to beat Florida in the national championship game. I hate to revisit that, Max, but we did, and so I think it's just one of those things. So very high on obviously Houston and Kelvin Sampson and what he's done with the program. I think the freshmen are very intriguing to see. Too. It's like, hey, you're bringing in freshmen. When's the last time they played multiple freshmen? Houston fans can tell us that. I'm sorry, I don't know the answer. We mostly do the SEC, but obviously we look at all the stuff nationally too. I don't have the rosters in front of me. I don't remember the last time they played multiple freshmen in a starting lineup. Potentially. Let's say that. This is our projections, but
I feel like they always have one. It's like Walker, or they'll have one guy, and then they'll have 4 guys that have played 7,000 games.
Yeah. So I don't know. Could it look a little bit different defensively? Maybe we'll see. But if there's one guarantee, these two teams are going to defend. Like no one else. And so that should make for a fun matchup here in this one. All right, Max, there we go. Tennessee and Houston coming up in Vegas, our non-conference preview of the week in terms of that being one of the bigger games out there. We'll have more to come. As we keep doing this, I think I'm going to go ahead, Max, and make the executive decision next week based on the list that we have put together. I I think one of the options we had was Kentucky and the Zags.
Ooh.
I think we may go to Kentucky and Gonzaga next week as one of the bigger ones. Now, I know that's going to be like our third Kentucky one, but as we said, folks, I mean, look at the schedule. We could go
There's
5 more for Kentucky based on their schedule. So we got to knock all these out at some point, and so I think we'll go Kentucky and the Zags for next week. So there you go. Good point here, too, by Alex. The physicality of Houston.
Great
and how
point.
a freshman like Nate Ament, and that's why I kind of brought up earlier, like the Kelvin Sampson matchup. I think they're going to be physical, no question. So,
yeah.
Kevin, we already did we not? We have done that one, right, Max? Did we do Kentucky and Louisville? We did.
Was it Kentucky and Louisville, or was it Kentucky and St. John's?
No, we did Kentucky Louisville. I am 99% certain we've already done Kentucky Louisville.
We've done so many at this point.
We did. You know what? I'm going to give you the link right here if you want to go watch it. But we did that one, Kevin, so I'm going to put this in the comments for you.
We did do it.
Yeah, we did. We've done a lot. So, all right. That'll wrap it up. We appreciate you guys, as always. Actually, if you want to leave a couple super chats, we got a couple minutes here, and you heard that barking. Max, you know what that means. Doesn't mean we got a dog sponsor. It means yours truly has to go let the dog in. I'll be right back. Super chats, folks.
Well, yeah, and also let us know other games that you would want to see potentially. Because I'll do more of these. We do not have to just keep these to live shows only. I will do more of these previews. What I'm actually going to have to do is, now that I'm thinking about it, guys, I'm going to have to make a Gonzaga graphic. I don't have that conference done, Blake. I haven't made. I don't even. We're going to have to dive into the Zags.
And some Zags, huh? All right.
Steel Venters, folks. Steel Venters.
Yeah. We'll have to do that. So, I mean, we haven't decided. I'm pretty sure there is at some point in the offseason we will go through the non-conference schedules. We probably won't do all of them because, just to be completely honest, like I don't think some of them are probably going to get a lot of whatever the word is, but it's just, we'll look at ranking schedules and that kind of stuff probably at some point too. So
I feel like Graham Ike is like this decade's Perry Ellis. I mean, the guy's been playing for the whole decade.
Yeah. Yes. Anthony said Louisville and Arkansas. Have we done that one yet? Have we not already? We've already done that one too, have we not? Or do we not? I don't remember. Hold on. We can check, folks.
We did.
No, we have not done that one yet.
Michigan State, and we did Arkansas Duke.
Okay, so we haven't done Arkansas and Louisville yet. So maybe that's one of the front runners coming up soon. So, yeah. I think Kentucky will be the first that we've done 3 on. Arkansas has 2. I'm trying to remember who else we've done. Florida, 1 or 2 so far. Yeah, they all run together. Missouri, Kansas. So, we'll get to them. So, Jay asked, have we done South Carolina versus Clemson yet? We have not. But we may have some incentive to do a South Carolina one coming soon if you're a South Carolina basketball fan. We'll leave it at
Chris asked, does Michigan play an SEC team this year? It's funny you ask that, Chris, because on the same day that Tennessee and Houston are playing in the Players Era tournament.
Oh, yeah, they do. Yeah.
Auburn and Michigan are also playing in the Players Era tournament. So you'll probably watch these 2 games back to back. I like that.
I like that. Yeah. I forgot about that one. That is one of the ones you have on your list here. Big Baller Brett. NATO's brought up the idea of toning back the non-conference schedule, but then he proceeded to make one that's harder than last year's. Well, that's what it is. So, yeah.
We could do a Michigan Auburn soon.
We could. By the way, did you see the photos out there of it was Adam Sandler was with South Carolina playing? Yeah,
He's been making a tour or something.
He's been going everywhere, man. I've been seeing this guy all over the place. He was at South Florida, then I saw him in Columbia, but yeah, he's doing the tour or whatever, and so he's going to all the colleges and getting some run in. I love it. A man of the people is Adam Sandler.
I think his shorts go longer down his legs and with every next visit.
Yeah. So, all right. that's all we got, guys. We appreciate you. Another one in the books here. SEC basketball will be here before you know it. Again, the best way to support the channel, subscribe, like, turn on your notifications, join the membership tier. You're going to get some bonus stuff from basketball. We mentioned it. We did a huge mailbag the other day. I'm going to put the link back in the comments on a lot of stuff we had a lot to talk about. The future of Bruce Pearl, Rick Barnes, many other questions, underrated transfers, all that stuff. So we went almost an hour, I think, for the members the other day in the mailbag. So you can get bonus content there and super chats. Those always help out the channel. Basically, just, hey, it's a tip jar. Give us a tip if you enjoy the stuff. Leave a super chat. You don't just have to do it live. You can do it after the fact. You'll see a little $ button down there. That supports the channel. You know what, Max? It's the middle of the month, and I'm just thinking, I'm in a giving mood.
No way.
I'm in a bit of a giving mood right now. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to hand out 5 free memberships. We've been hyping up all this stuff. Let's just go ahead and hype it up. Why not? Here we go, folks. 5 free memberships coming your way, and let's see who gets them here on the way out. Are we ready?
This.
It's always exciting time to see who gets the memberships. Here we go. Josh, yes. The Fish Man. The Fish Man's here. Aggie Man. Oh, Mark's here. Jesse. Memberships. Look at that. Josh, we got Fish Man, Aggie Man, Mark, and Jesse all getting a free membership here from Southeastern 16.
Here we go, Josh.
Welcome to a new world
time
for you guys. Big Baller Brett. I never get one. You're already a member. Come on. All right. You're the best, guys. We appreciate you, and we'll talk to you soon at Southeastern 16.